Hi everyone, Tara Malarkey here, founder of High Ticket Empress and Seven Figure Femme, and I am so excited because I have Regina DeAngelis, right?
Great. Yep.
Regina is with us today to share her amazing success story. So far, it's just the beginning, right? In High Ticket Empress. But what's your highlight so far, Regina? Thank you so much for being here.
Sure. It's my pleasure. I've only been here since April. My birthday was April 1st. I dove in and I was like, I got to do something. I'm going for it. And so what's that, 60 days? And last month, the highlight has been my last month's figures, which were $15,500 from implementing your program and the beta webinar and filling it up.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. Really amazing success with your first high ticket offer, right? So explain to people, like, what is your expertise and what did you do before HTE?
So I'm an attorney, but I call myself a reformed family law attorney. And I had gotten out of the traditional practice of family law because it's so destructive. And I really wanted to do something that felt much more fulfilling, much more like I was a force for good for families as opposed to tearing them down. And I had developed a mediation process that was one-on-one and was having great success with that. But over COVID, and actually before COVID, I had thought about this and always wanted to develop an online course like what your program helps us do. So what HTE did for me was took me from my traditional like one-on-one mediation to allowing me to automate, I guess if that's the word, automate, somehow scale, I guess, what I was doing individually to now I can reach people all over the country and the world. So it's been really cool.
So cool. It's so cool. I love it. And so what were you charging, if you don't mind sharing, like what were you charging before for what you do?
Yeah, so I was charging like an attorney, $300 an hour for my mediations. And that's how I was going along.
Yeah, and I remember like you were having great success. Your clients were having great success, right? So you could have filled yourself out, and maybe you had, but you could have filled yourself out with one-on-one sessions at $300 an hour, right?
Right, exactly. But I realized that, that wasn't scaling as big as I wanted it to be. Like I could have been successful, and been paying my bills or whatever, but I have much bigger goals than that. Really for family reasons, but I thought the timing was now that I needed to really scale this to like 6 figures, like you're saying.
Yeah, and beyond, right?
Yes, and beyond.
Figure to 7-figure business on your hands.
Right.
Yeah. So how much are you charging now?
Now I'm making myself laugh because even I'm building up my beta. I filled with $2,500 clients and one $3,000 client because it was filling so fast. I was like, I'm not charging enough. I was having people say to me when I was quoting them the price, is that per person or for the both people? And if that like made it click, like people are expecting to pay more. So I raised the price for the last beta and she didn't bat an eye. And ultimately when it goes into regular webinar, I'm thinking it's going to be a $6,000 or $7,000 package. And what I was charging before was no retainer, just hourly as we go. And so by the time people got all the way through the whole process, they may be charged or paid me $5,000, but I was pretty efficient. So a lot of them were giving out for less than that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, it'll be 6,000 in the future. It's 3,000 now.
Yes.
And from, let's just summarize, at least so far, $300 an hour to $3,000 a client.
Yeah, it's 60 days. When you say it like that, I feel very, very proud of myself.
As you should be. And I know that you have your kids and you have a full-time life going on, right?
Right. Yeah, I have another full-time regular job. So I'm building this kind of in the background.
And so many women in HTE are doing that too, right? So
Yes.
it's not alone, but it would be hard to figure it out on your own. I think this was definitely a shortcut for you. Would you agree?
It was the shortcut that I needed. And like, I guess somewhere was waiting for it to fall into my lap because, you know, I have it written down. Like for the last 2 years, I wrote on my vision board at the beginning of the year, like create course, sell course, but I didn't know how. Like I had a lot of the content that, you know, I was using in my one-on-one clients, but I didn't know how to exactly do it. And when I heard that you were giving us that model and like walking us through, I was like, that's exactly what I need. Someone to hold my hand through that.
Awesome. So, what specifically would you say that you learned that really so far, like you've just done your beta, so you don't have the automated webinar set up yet, and you know you don't have your future pricing going yet.
Right.
But what would you say really changed things for you over the past 60 days?
Just the marketing language and the psychology behind it, because all of us come into this program with different backgrounds, but we're not marketers, right? That wasn't, I don't have an MBA or a marketing degree. And the help in honing the message, but also in realizing or being guided to realize that you need to really focus on who your ideal client is. Like, I can't help every family facing divorce for different reasons, but there's many, many thousands of people out there who would be my ideal client. And I need to talk to that person.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you think it would be fair to say that you likely wouldn't have sold at 3,000 or 2,500 a client if you hadn't messaged and marketed the way we taught you?
Yes. And also, not only is it the marketing piece, but it's the confidence boost piece that we get from you and from HTE in terms of expanding our expectations and expanding our thought process. And so I think the combination of those two things, the marketing and then me having been given the confidence or gaining the confidence to be like, this is what it costs. And, you know, maybe I'm not for you. You can get divorced the regular way, but this is what it costs. And it's so much fun to be like, oh, well, I don't, you know, but I think those two things have changed me immensely in the last 60 days.
Amazing. Amazing. And I think I remember you posting in the group that people had started going through your content and being like, it's already life-changing for them, you know?
Yeah, it's just, because I call it the anti-divorce. It like really is. And one gentleman had said to me, like, this was such a relief to hear my beta webinar because people are terrified and they think there's only that one way. And then I guess I spoke to him like, no, you don't need to go down that path. And so that was really gratifying.
And there's a very specific way we teach you how to do the beta webinar so that it hits the psychology and really helps them take the next step and book a call with you, right?
Yep, exactly. And that's what, so I have 6 people in my beta program and 5 of them are there because they saw my beta. And one is like, it was somebody else had seen my beta and called their cousin and said, you need to call this woman. Like, so the person who ended up in the course hadn't even watched it, but her relative did. And so, and the 6th couple that's in there was one-on-one clients that I sold and I convinced them to come into the beta.
So good. So good. You now have what we teach you, right? Which is proof of concept before we teach you how to set up a funnel that can go with a paid advertising so that actually bring in consistent leads coming in daily and sell it at a higher price.
Yes, that's what I'm really excited for, that next step. Like, so what's the date today? It's like July, I've lost track, 6th or 7th, but that's really by the end of July, I want to have that up and running. So that's where I am right now. I think I'm pretty close.
That's amazing. You are, totally.
Yeah.
You've had amazing success just in this. So then, you know, right, you have proof of concept. You know that the marketing language that you use works.
Yeah.
And a lot. And then they're going through your program, they're going to get great results, but they also might give you some feedback. You might learn some things in that process to make your product even better, your program even better. And then you're going to be uber confident to sell it at the 6K or 7K or whatever you want level.
Exactly. And that's what I love about the beta, is saying to people like, you know, I want their honest feedback, because if there's a question or something that I haven't thought about, and you talk about this too in the marketing, like we always are just like uber focused on what we do, but to have someone like you listen to what we say we think we do is really helpful to adjust that content. And I want my beta students.
I say, or the team says, well, what does that mean? Explain that, but not necessarily because I don't understand it, but your client is not going to understand it. So let's put it in language that they're going to understand. Right. Yeah. We're in our own head. We don't know, you know,
exactly.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, without going into too much detail of how we teach our messaging, because obviously that's like inside the program, but right. You know, one of the things we were able to teach you to do was really stand out as a new way for people to solve a problem that they have. And we do this for every single client we have, no matter what niche they're in. It's right. A process we take you through so that you can understand how to market yourself and understand what else are the options of your client. You can say, you can go that way, or you can do my way, and my way is better, right?
Right.
So how to do that, and you naturally stand out in perhaps a market where there are other people who may do what you do.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like with what I do, especially, that's maybe an easier path. And I don't want to, like, because you talk, like, I don't want to downplay, right? But I do feel like, you know, we've got like traditional divorce or what I'm doing, and there's people in between, but I really am trying to hit that sweet spot of people who are trying to create a positive new reality for their family on the other side and avoid the destruction. And it's been really great.
Yeah, exactly. And we went through that, like you mentioned earlier too, right? We are not trying to sell to everyone. Like, you're not trying to sell to every single person who has this problem. It's right. A very specific archetype of a client who's going to want what you have to offer. So if you just are smart and speak to them from the beginning, then you have a whole little carved out market for yourself.
Right. And it's been really fun, like honing that in and really, I don't know, like owning that, I think is the word I'm looking for. Like, you know, traditional, when you're a lawyer and like it's like kill what you eat, or eat what you kill. That's the expression. Like, I don't feel like I want to do that now. Like, I'm honing this specifically, and I do believe that they will find me. And that makes the whole sales process too so much easier, that we're all so nervous about at the beginning. But you're right, but if they watch your beta, they already know kind of what they're in for when they get on the phone with you.
Totally, exactly. And I'm writing this in my book right at this moment, actually, that so many people shy away from a higher ticket business because they don't want to do sales calls. But if you actually make the sales process easier by marketing that works, then it's already pre-sold.
Right. I really do believe that, and that's been my experience. You know, when I get on these sales calls, I've only had one, and it was like not through a beta, it was like a therapist referral where the woman wanted to work with me, but she couldn't get the other person on board, and she was nervous to do it on her own. But, you know, everyone that got to me through the beta, like literally at the end of the call, when I looked at them and said, so what do you think? They all said, let's do it. I was like, okay.
Exactly. I love it.
Right.
Totally. So I actually forgot to ask you a question before we wrap it up, and you tell us, you know, kind of like, what would you tell someone who's thinking of joining? Tell me first, what was your biggest fear about joining High Ticket Empress?
Yeah, you know, my biggest fear was really where I was in terms of the time commitment that I was going to be able to give to this, because I really, you know, if you're making the investment, you want to make sure that you are giving it your all. And as you said, because of the kids, because of the other job, and I just kind of had to release some of that too, and say, you know what, it's all going to happen in divine time. I'm doing the best I can, but I was within those 60 days able to get it going. And so I feel pretty confident that within the 90 days, I will be in a place where it will be generating leads and I can just go from there.
Totally. Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Good. Like, it's such a great testament to the fact that you did do this with kids. And I think you have a special needs kid as well, right?
I do, yeah.
And another job, and right, trying to hold all that together while like launching another business. It's a big deal, but that's sort of why I created this, right? Is so that you can shorten your pathway, right? We can make it as soon as possible, and that it's highly leveraged. So in the future, it's not going to create a whole nother job for you. In fact, right? You're
in fact, I'm going to quit my other job as soon as humanly possible. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. And then you're going to have really only one coaching call a week with clients and have a multi six-figure business, right? Making an impact with all those people. So you didn't put yourself into a one-on-one session, job.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is, yeah, I needed the freedom. That's part of what, because of my special needs son and everything that happened this year, that was what propelled me to say, like, the time is now. I have to take action. And then this was the perfect scenario.
Let me just say on to that, which I, talk about quite a bit, but it is the time is now. This is an amazing opportunity right now for everyone.
Right.
Because people are coming online. So you don't have to sell these people, your clients, on learning something online, because now everyone is already adapted to this new way of life because of last year. And it's also secondarily like the best time. Like, the better time was yesterday. The better time, the best time is now, like, if you didn't do it yesterday, now, but so that you can establish your expertise as an expert, right?
Yep.
In the online education field. So you had your expertise as an attorney doing other things, but now is the time where you build out your expertise in your niche online, and that's going to set you up for the future. So the time. Yeah.
It's awesome. It really, really is.
Cool. So one last thing, what would you say to someone who's watching this and hasn't joined us yet?
I really would say, like, what are you waiting for? Because one thing I learned is that, it's worth the risk. I think the goal, and what I was told when I was on the call with HT before I came in, is that, like, the program will pay for itself, and it certainly did. Like, so the information, what I've learned, and the confidence that I've gained is really invaluable. So I took it from, like, a sentence in my closet to real life in 60 days. Well, 2 years and 60 days.
And that has a lot to do with you, but obviously has some to do with what, we taught you. And I think that, just think about opportunity cost, right? You really do now have proof of concept for a multi six-figure business. So that's essentially what you would have lost if you didn't jump in and learn how to do it.
Exactly. And I'd still be just, like, struggling along with this unknown, how am I going to do this idea in my head? But now it's concrete, and I can say, oh yeah, I own a business when I meet people at cocktail parties.
Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
That's exactly right. I totally am. And that's why, and I actually practice that in my head because of what you say. Like, I want to own that, embody it, and that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and you're doing it. You're doing it. Totally. Well, good job for you. Like, honestly, you did the work, and you did it's all I ask everyone. Like, if you follow the program, I promise you, you will get results, right? So I love it. And just, go. Right.
Thank you.
Get your funnel up, and we'll do another interview to follow this one up.
Yeah, I'll be asking for help with the funnel next. That'll be next week's call with you guys.
I'm happy to.
So, all right. Thank you so much.
All right, girl. Regina, thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks.